serving Southwest Florida. The team that's first, fair, everywhere. This is Wink News at 4.
Hundreds of questions are being asked by the thousands of people who will be impacted by the 10-week closure of the Caloosahatchee Bridge. Now on Wink News at 4, a city councilman is taking a stance against it. Here on Wink, we brought it to you as breaking news that FDOT made the decision to close the bridge completely. It's an effort to complete their pedestrian crossing in 10 weeks rather than the original plan of almost 2 years.
Today, FDOT held a press conference to fill people in on the closure, and during that time, Councilman Liston Bochette told FDOT it's unsafe. This closure instantly sparked questions from many of you, from EMS and evacuation routes, tolls, getting your kids to school. Hello, I'm Amanda Hall.
And I'm Russ McCaskey, and now we're seeing what this could really mean. And now Wink News anchor Claire Galt joins us live by the bridge. And Claire, you have some answers for us coming out of that meeting.
Russ, first and foremost, FDOT says the bridge will be back open August 11th before school starts, no matter what. When it does open back up, you can expect any kind of lane closures to be very few and far between. Now, as far as traffic, you can expect a lot of it on other bridges. And yes, that does come with a longer commute too. FDOT says they're going to have some signs posted showing estimated wait times for those detours. And yes, FDOT says they know this is annoying. They do feel that it will be worth the wait, but not everybody I talked to today said they agree.
Chuck McGarry had his helmet on for his bike ride through Centennial Park Tuesday morning. But Chuck told me a helmet won't do a dang thing to protect him on the Caloosahatchee Bridge.
Too dangerous. I don't know many people that walk that bridge.
Walkers, bikers like Chuck are one of the reasons FDOT is adding an 8-foot sidewalk to the bridge. To speed up the process, FDOT is closing the bridge, all 4 lanes, for 10 weeks, May 31st to August 11th.
Is going to cut the length of this project by 12 months.
That means 10 weeks of likely longer commute times.
Probably we won't come down here as much, I would say. We'd probably go around to the Cape Coral Bridge when we do.
Since we live right on First Street, I think we're going to have a lot more traffic going past the house now. So that's a little concerning.
Councilman Liston Bochette came to FDOT's presser to ask how the department plans to handle traffic in other areas like this intersection. He calls 5 points.
It's where 41, north and southbound, McGregor Boulevard, MLK, and all the downtown traffic. There's 5 major arteries that come together, even at the beginning of Palm Beach Boulevard if you cut through downtown. So it is the pinnacle juggernaut of traffic in Southwest Florida.
We can do a traffic study there and take a look at it. Absolutely.
Did FDOT answer my question clearly? No.
Bochette said it's already a dangerous area.
We've had bicyclists hit there. We've had car accidents hit there. The bridge closure will create more traffic. It'll create more bicycles, more pedestrians, and they're going to get dumped into that same situation.
The councilman said it is crucial the issue is addressed now.
Immediately, and get that on the planning board through MPO or through the county or through the state. But I think if we don't do something about it, we're going to see more accidents and more fatalities at that intersection.
Now, Mayor Kevin Anderson told me he disagrees with Councilman Liston Bochette. He told me that this traffic pattern has existed for years, and the dangerous part, he says, is unsafe drivers. Now, again, the bridge will close for 10 weeks starting May 31st. EMS, first responders, will also be rerouted. And if there is a hurricane, a storm, FDOT says they'll close 1 lane of the bridge to allow for evacuations. On Wink News at 5, Wink News reporter Amy Gallo will tell us how this will impact business owners. I'm live in Fort Myers. Claire Galt, Wink News.
A man is arrested inside a beach resort, but not before he could take one more swig of his favorite beer. On Saturday, Lee County deputies were called to Margaritaville on Fort Myers Beach because there were reports of a person throwing beer bottles from the 4th floor. Deputies went up to the room to confront the person, Connor Thurman. Once there, deputies told him he had to leave and he had 10 minutes to get his stuff. Instead of packing his bags, Thurman argued and decided to go into his room, grab a beer, and chug what was left of it. Deputies tried to get the bottle out of his hands, but Thurman wouldn't give it up. Deputies were finally able to take it away and arrest him. Thurman was taken to the Lee County Jail. 4 teens and an adult arrested, charged with shooting at a man. It happened Sunday around 4 in the morning along 12th Street in Lehigh Acres. The Lee County Sheriff's Office says the victim was at a home when somebody shot at him from a vehicle. He went to a family member's home and noticed he was being followed. The victim says he was shot at again before running into the house. Deputies located the suspect's vehicle and a fully loaded 9mm handgun inside. All 5 people were arrested.
A community is getting 2 different messages from 2 leaders about the justification of a detective shooting and killing Christopher Jordan in his home. On one side, the NAACP is pointing the finger at Fort Myers Police Department and the state attorney. On the other side, Fort Myers City Councilman Johnny Streets, who believes this is a time to come together. Well, last week, the state attorney, Amira Fox, ruled that she will not press charges against Detective James Borsello, who shot and killed Jordan even after investigators said they did not find a gun. Well, today we're hearing from people in this community where this happened. And now we turn to Wink News anchor Annette Montgomery. She joins us now live from Stella Street. So Annette, what are people telling you about all this?
Well, Russ and Amanda, people are saying it's not that simple. It's not really one side against another. They feel whether this decision is protested or not, another black man will be shot by a law enforcement official and they won't be charged. The community tells me right now there are multiple ways to fight for justice and they can all be done at the same time. 2 African-American leaders with 2 different opinions on how to handle the aftermath of the single decision made by the state attorney's office to not charge the Fort Myers police detective involved in the fatal shooting of Christopher Jordan.
The fact that the state attorney has made a decision, I don't see any way that this decision can be overturned. But in the interim, we need to be moving forward as to explaining to what really happened here. Now that it's decisive and it's done.
We're looking to see, can we appeal her decision? It's the wrong decision. We'll also be going before the FBI because they're supposed to be investigating this. But he had no gun. He was unarmed.
Chantel Rhodes is an organizer for Peaceful Protest Lee County, and she was one of the first people to sit in a room with the chief of Fort Myers Police after the shooting.
We can focus on resolving matters, sitting down with police officers, chiefs, leaders, having them come together with the community to discuss these matters. How do we prevent this from happening again? But we can also say, you know what, this was mishandled. We're going to take it to another level.
Rhodes, along with other neighbors, agree. It's not a matter of one opinion versus another, or one way of handling the outcome.
There is room for protest. There is room for people to sit down at the table of discussion. We can respond to this matter and so many other matters of injustice with a multi-focused approach.
So your thoughts on a protest, are you for or against it? Just
no comment on that one, because like I said, I just give it to God. Just let God take care of it.
And the NAACP is holding a protest this Thursday. Now, they say the goal of the protest is to inform the community about the shooting and to get leaders across the state involved to hopefully overturn the state attorney's decision. Live in Fort Myers, Annette Montgomery, Wink News.
A new view of a plane that slammed into the runway at Buckingham Airport. You see its nose dug into the concrete with damage on the front end and rear. The plane, which is registered to the Lee County Mosquito Control, veered off the runway during takeoff Monday night. Thankfully, no injuries were reported.
Will there be any changes at the body of water where 3 young men drowned? Over the weekend, there was a massive scene at the Franklin Lock for a call that a number of people had gone into the water. 3 did not survive. The sheriff's office says that Santos Tuchen went in the water at the Franklin Lock Park, did not know how to swim and started to struggle. Then a second person jumped in to help. That person is Pedro Miguel Pascual. He did not resurface, and then a third person identified as Victor Pedro Gaspar jumped in only to meet the same fate. There were life jackets nearby, and you are allowed to swim in the water.
A dead body sparks a homicide investigation. Fort Myers police say the victim, 29-year-old Guy Nally Nonsent, was found in front of Severe Beauty Salon Saturday morning. No arrests have been made, and investigators have not released any information about a suspect or a person of interest. If you know anything, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-780-TIPS.
A symbol of freedom stolen right from a restaurant. These two men captured on camera stealing an American flag from Michelli's waterfront restaurant on Matlacha. You can see one of them helping the other snag the flag right from the wall, and then they eventually drive off in a truck. If you know anything about these two or this incident where they stole that flag that just hit the ground there, contact Crime Stoppers or deputies. All right, all new at 4, rebuilding affordable housing washed away by Hurricane Ian. Today, Lee County Commissioners voted to award more than $41.6 million in community development block grants. These funds will help rebuild 6 multifamily housing projects in Dunbar, North Fort Myers, and Fort Myers.
Is a new rule with the goal of helping people with affordable housing, giving another group too much power. Soon, people in Collier County will be able to rent out their guest homes to workers. This change came down last week in the Collier Commission meeting. The reason is to allow people who work in Collier to live in Collier. So now owners will become landlords. Wink News reporter Michelle Alvarez joins us live in Naples Park. Michelle, how will guest house rentals work?
Amanda, I talked with Commissioner Bert Saunders, who said cost of rent and maintenance will be up to the homeowner. This has not been approved by commissioners yet, but plans to move forward with discussion did pass after a 4-to-1 vote. Affordable housing is a hot topic in Collier County.
It's a crisis situation in Collier County, affordable housing.
Last week, commissioners moved forward with a plan to allow urban estates homeowners to rent guest houses to address a critical shortage of workforce housing.
Right now, you're allowed to have family members live there rent-free, but you're technically not allowed to rent it out, even though people do.
Tim Ayton is senior editor for Gulf Shore Business and Naples Press. He says the issue of affordable housing has to do with the cost of land in Collier County.
And that's one of the problems where Collier has such a high AMI, the area median income, because a lot of it is the land cost. The cost of living here is higher.
He says developers can't make up the difference.
If you're a developer, you want a good return on investment. So you're not going to give away property, unless you really do have a philanthropic bone and you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, which a lot of times it's a business and you can't really, fault them for wanting to make a buck.
People like Megan Koba worry about possible traffic.
We need to provide more places and more roads and more infrastructure to keep up with the economic growth that's happening out in Golden Gate Estate.
I don't think there's been enough publicity about how this would operate.
Commissioner Bert Saunders voted against guest house rentals, so I asked him why.
I don't think that property owners would seek to rent their guest houses for a lower rent than what they could get in the market. So I don't think it really addresses the problems that we have with workforce housing, but I do think it creates the problem of additional traffic.
When it comes to guest house rentals, Tim thinks the county is trying to codify a practice that's already been happening and says it will give code enforcers the power to fine people. I'm live in Naples Park. Michelle Alvarez, Wink News.
Memorial Day is fast approaching and millions will hit the road in Florida alone. How you can budget for a safe and inexpensive road trip.
The city of Fort Myers is seeing green, while others are seeing red when it comes to downtown Fort Myers parking. Nearly $2 million that they have made where that money is going.
And right now at Wink Live Doppler 3X, we do have pop-up areas of rain mainly into southern Collier County. We'll highlight that and have your complete 10-day right after the break.